time because I get doing good in the community, and they're people that many of you know, and they make our lives better and brighter, and they just illuminate and enlighten us in so many different ways. And my guest this afternoon, of course, you know who this man is, John Cary, who happened to have been executive director of the Mac Fund for 36 years, but now he has retired from that and he's still busy. And I can't believe, John, you just told me you're 70 years old. I don't believe it.
Well, not quite. In a week, I will be.
I can't believe that. It just doesn't seem right. Now, okay, you have a lot of fans out there, a lot of people.
Oh gosh, I bet they're all turning off right now. So,
but I know people might be wondering, okay, what are you doing right now? So tell them, because you're still helping people even though you're retired.
Well, I'm really fortunate. I was on the board of directors of Milwaukee Catholic Home for about 10 years, and I was actually chairman last year. And for the last year, actually next on my birthday is the first year, I come in a couple days a week and try to raise money and do a few other things. And the Catholic Home is just a wonderful thing. And it's, you think of it as a retirement home, which it is, independent apartments, and there's a health care center and great dementia center and rehab. But the other thing that's really cool, I think, and we mentioned this a little bit before, we're opening up in November an incredible facility called Trinity Woods, and it will be on the grounds of Mount Mary University. It's a partnership between Mount Mary University, the School Sisters of Notre Dame, which sponsor Mount Mary, and Milwaukee Catholic Home. And it will consist of independent living apartments for seniors, as well as a healthcare center for some of the sisters. And then one of the really cool things is there will be rooms for 24 women who are single moms who are students at Mount Mary, and they will be living with their children. So it's been an incredible interdenominational facility. And it's at 95th and Burleigh, right on the campus. We're really excited about that. And then the other thing that's really cool is we've had a farm, a 6-acre farm out in Burlington since 2015 called Clare Gardens, which is a organic principled farm. And the whole idea there is that we grow the produce, which we feed the residents at the Catholic Home, as well as some other leading senior centers in Milwaukee. But that is growing next year. We're going to head out to Neosho, and as part of the Laudate Si Catholic Ecology Center, and we're going to have an 18-acre farm out there, in which we're growing vegetables as well as fruit trees and beehives, and we compost stuff. And the cool thing there is the people that come out for the Catholic Ecology Center programs, which include little kids from the inner city of Milwaukee, as well as different churches and the like, they can all take part in learning about sustainability of farming and things like that. So people think of the Catholic Home as, just...
Oh, it's got a lot
going. It's much more. We've got an incredible CEO, Dave Felcher, who's one of the tops in the country. He's been here now 11 years, and he was nice enough to ask me to try to help out a little bit. And, I try to stay out of the way, but do a little bit I can. So.
Well, I love the fact, they know that if they have you at the helm or doing anything for them, it's going to be a success.
I'm not at the helm. I'm sort of like that guy with one oar in the back, but I'm around. And then the other thing that if you ask, the other thing I'm really excited about is I'm fortunate to be on the inaugural board and chair of that board for a wonderful thing called the Catholic Worker House. And it's St. Bakita's Catholic Worker House, and it will be at the 2nd and Burleigh, the old St. Elizabeth's Convent. And it will be for basically women who have been trafficked in the sex trade, and a rehab opportunity for them. They will live there, and then they're part of a program with the Franciscan Peacemakers. St. Bakita is a Sudanese. She was in a slave in Sudan, and she then somehow got to Italy and became a sister, and was ordained or was made a saint in 2000 by the Catholic Church. So it's the St. Bakita Catholic Worker House, and a wonderful woman who you will want to have on here is Ann Haynes. She will be the executive director. She chaired the urban activities for the Archdiocese of Milwaukee. She's taught in Malcolm X School. She's taught at Mesmer High School. She's just a saintly person. Her brother actually is the auxiliary bishop for the city of, or Archdiocese of Milwaukee. So I'm doing that, and then I've been fortunate to be involved with the Ability Center. Damian Bookman, whom I know you know, who was a bilateral osteosarcoma, which means basically he had bone cancer in both legs back when he was 13. He's now about 43. He started this thing called the Ability Center. And the whole idea is to basically create an opportunity where everyone can have the opportunity to participate. And Summerfest just had a great announcement with Northwestern Mutual relative to that in terms of a facility where everyone can participate, on a playground, things like that. And we've got great ideas in line there, and they've asked me to, show up once in a while and help out a little bit. We actually did. You covered it, or Channel 4 covered it. We've got a ramp down to Lake Michigan on Bradford Beach, making it a totally accessible beach with special wheelchairs.
So wonderful.
There's all good stuff.
Yeah, you know what? Well, so I see, and in case you're just joining me, I am talking to John Cary. He is the former executive director of the MAC Fund, but he is also now with the Milwaukee Catholic Home. And as you see, he's retired and he's not doing much, just kind of lying around playing golf. I can't believe all the stuff you're involved in, still giving back, still making lives better. And I want to say, if you have a question or a comment, please, we can see it. Matt Walker just said, that's awesome. That's to you, John.
I think he was talking to you. And if my wife leaves a comment that she said for better or for worse, but never for lunch, that's my wife, Mary.
I love that. That's very good. But that means that you're keeping busy and you're not bothering her. You're not in her ear. But I know Mary, and you have such a wonderful wife, wonderful family, great relationship, 6 kids, and you still have always found time to really think of other people. And, over the years, you have helped so many families that have had to endure the pain of childhood cancer and so many kids, and you have just given so much. So you're really a part of the fabric here in Milwaukee and many people's hearts, John, for all that you did for many years and continue to do. So, and I don't mean to make you blush.
No,
but it's true.
I forgot to blush this morning, so I'm glad.
But it's absolutely true. Now, I also wanted to ask you, John, about, I find it fascinating about this at the former St. Elizabeth Convent, that what you're planning to do and to have young ladies really get out of something that is so dark and so frightening, because this is a big problem all over the country. I mean, it's something, sex trafficking is hard to think that we're dealing with, but we are.
It is, and unfortunately, Milwaukee is sort of at the epicenter of it based on its location with Minneapolis, St. Louis, and Chicago. And there's an incredible organization. You actually, Channel 4 did a beautiful piece on them a few weeks ago, Franciscan Peacemakers. And Deacon Steve, who runs that, is, if you talk about a saint on earth, you're talking about Steve and Ann Haynes. And he's been doing it now. I think he's done it for like 21 years. Real big man, very just incredible guy. He's a deacon within the Catholic Church, but he's out on the streets. And he told me once, sometimes it will take years and years to get a woman to be able to trust, to be able to come into their program. And the program, they sort of manufacture scents and things like that, balm balls for your baths and lotions and things of that nature. And then they sell that. So they sort of teach somewhat of a trade to the women. And then they go through basically what I would call, and I apologize if I'm using the terms wrong, but almost a rehabilitation project. And the women who will be at the St. Paquita Catholic Worker House will be some of these women. And,
well, this is,
it's tragic that it has to be, much like it's tragic that a kid gets cancer, but it's wonderful that there's an organization or a group of people that are trying to make a difference and try to help.
Yeah, what's important, John, is I think we all can do our part to ease some of the trauma out here, and we know for just all of the years that we've been doing the work that both of us do, there's so much out there, but we all can play a role in mitigating it in some way. So these organizations that you're talking about are doing just that, and I applaud you for continuing to work through after retirement.
Well, but you're doing that, with your show, and your management has given you that incredible microphone and megaphone to do that. And just the term positively Milwaukee. And there's so many wonderful things going on. And yes, certainly there's problems. We all know that. But every week, you put a spotlight on so many good things. And I think that people, we can get all caught up. I used to say when I was with the MAC Fund, you can say, well, what can I do about it? Or you can say, what can I do about it? And that's what you're doing. You are using this vehicle, these airwaves, or this digital, whatever this stuff is called nowadays. You're using it in such a wonderful way to share some very, very important messages. And you, and this will embarrass you,
Oh yeah.
but what a blessing you have been. Do you realize you're going on 30 years here?
my body tells me that every morning.
But
I don't feel like it though. I feel like I'm still in high school. But what a gift. And like you say, we both have a lot to be grateful about, because it's a blessing to be able to just to experience and to share good things about people. There's Regine Cantor just said, John is always involved with very good projects. And Regine, she was our guest last week. She's wonderful.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, and now she's an author. She's writing books, kids' books, and
a newlywed.
Her son's newlywed too. Isn't that cool?
It's just so cool, and she's a wonderful soul.
Her son Jim, used to run Miller, and now he's running Central Distillery or something, in town. Wonderful, wonderful guy. And Regine is a perfect example of what we're talking about. Patty Gorski, at Make-A-Wish, Linda Kohler, Sharp Literacy, so many, 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 many people. I mean, Becky at the MAC Fund. I mean, there's just,
the list is endless. And you know what, John? A lot of people say, well, all this bad stuff is happening, and people are on drugs, they're shooting and they're killing, and there's horrible things happening. But we forget that most people are not. Most people are doing good and also thinking beyond their families, their neighborhoods, and themselves. Really, and that is really the American way. And I think it's easy to get caught up in that negativity, and we owe it. And I thank God that we are able to share some of these stories.
Well, and that's the beauty of what you do, and you use your vehicle so well. And people need positive news, and they need to feel good, and this is still just a wonderful country. And
it really is. And I like the positive message, because otherwise you get too depressed if you think that everything is going, is bleak. But one thing, John, I know that you have tons of grandkids, and I've seen your family. I've seen the pictures of your brood. Now, can you tell me, who are you going to see next? Because I know you're always taking trips, and they're always here. So what's your next plan?
Well, actually, tomorrow I'm taking Audrey with her friend Olivia to DSHA for some camp or something. And then our little granddaughter Sally, who's 8 years old and is who probably could have been Annie on Broadway for Annie, is starring in a production at Dominican High School. But we're very, very fortunate. Molly came up from Chicago on Saturday with. And
your kids are just wonderful. If you don't know,
kids. We had the Milwaukee kids on Sunday for Father's Day. Unfortunately, Megan wasn't feeling well, and her children were very annoyed at her because they passed up ice cream on the way home from the lake home to have because they knew they were having Nana's desserts, and they couldn't come for Nana's desserts, so she was in the doghouse. And but we're really fortunate. And then 3 weeks from today, or about 3 weeks, our son Johnny is coming in from California. We have not seen him. We saw him a few months ago, but we've not seen his family in 18 months. And so we're fortunate. We got 4 of the 6 kids here. Our youngest son, Andy, just had their first baby. Colleen, who you know, just had her second baby. She's a saint. She teaches down at Bruce Guadalupe School. A bunch of little fourth graders adore her. And Andy takes care of the vets at the VA. And all the kids are doing really, really good stuff. And we're just lucky. I mean, Mary and I are,
Well, you're good parents. What could you say?
you know what, you get lucky too, though. It's, you do the best you can, and you don't know what's going to happen. But I'm fortunate, to be able to wake up with Mary every day, and that's about as good as it gets. I told her I'd say that, so now we can carry on.
But yours is a true love story, and I have to say, when I see you on Facebook and you post pictures of you and Mary, you're out having dinner or toasting life, and I just think, what a wonderful example of love and marriage and a great union. Because you both respect each other and you have fun. To me, that's important, to be able to communicate and have fun.
That's very, very important, and we do have fun. And you can't have 6 children and be real serious, because Katie barred the door. I mean, you have no idea. Well, it's just the phone rings after 11 o'clock at night. It's usually not good, but we've had a few of those calls. But you know what? God's been awfully good to us, and Mary was an incredible nurse.
Yes.
Her favorite service was home hospice, and she was just incredible. She worked in kids cancer, adult cancer, and other stuff, and she was just the best. So I'm lucky, what can I say?
Yeah, well, it's always nice to see when good things happen to good people. But you've persevered through some challenges as well. So it's not always easy. But you know what, John, for people who are out there, and by the way, I want to mention to you, if you're just joining us, this is Lunch with Carole Meekins. This is a Facebook Live with John Cary, and he is now working with the Milwaukee Catholic Home, and he's doing some great projects to really just help improve Milwaukee. And you know what you're doing? There are people, it's the humanity that you're putting into our area that we need. And so even though he's retired from the MAC Fund, I know you all know him, but he is now as busy as ever, it sounds like. I mean, that's a lot of projects you got going there, John.
No, you know what? It's just, I'm very fortunate to be able to do it. And I think that, we've never really been able to write out a lot of big checks, but we've always given our time, whether it was our kids' school, or I'm still involved in Marquette High School, and which is an incredible place where our 3 boys went, and my 3 brothers and I went, and it's just a privilege to to be able to do things. And I was never good at anything that, like with science or math or anything like that. But I could talk, in case you haven't noticed. And
you're good at touching hearts.
That's you know what? It was interesting you say that. Just occurred to me as you said it. A wonderful woman in town, Brenda Skelton, used to be on our board. She was with Midwest Express and a number of other places, and is retired now as well. And I remember in a board meeting, she said, I leave a lot of meetings and I walk out of a meeting, and I left another meeting. She said, when I leave a meeting with John and the MAC Fund, I've been touched. And I always felt we did that. I always thought the MAC Fund did a really nice job and continues to, and it's hard not to. I mean, you know the Brandon Novaks, and the Tim Kujawas, and the Coco Flannerys, and the Maggie, and all the rest of them. And sadly some of the kids that have passed. But it's awfully hard when you're out, in a sense, representing those kids to be anything but as good as you can possibly be, because they deserve the best. And they're fortunate here in Wisconsin with Children's Wisconsin, the hospital here, the medical college out at UW, the cancer center there. MAC Fund also supports the Marshfield Clinic, which does a great job up there. There's some really, really good things. And I think sometimes we have a tendency to focus on what isn't good. And I think what you do And what you're allowed to do through your show and through other things is to focus on the positive. And good grief, there's so much out there that's so good, and we just have to do our best to find it.
Yes, embrace it. And I always say, we always say we want, oh, I love chocolate, I love dessert, but we can't live a life with just meat and potatoes. We need a little sweetness. We need a little dessert. We can't eat it for dinner all the time. But if we sprinkle it all through, I think we're better as people ultimately. So that's the most important thing. Well, John, I know. Okay, are you going to the game tonight?
I'm going to go to the game in our house.
Okay, that's good enough.
Mary and I will cheer there, and we'll text back and forth with the kids, and I just think it's so incredible. And as great as the game is, how awesome is that Deer District?
Oh, if you have not been down there, it is worth just standing in the crowd. It's beyond. I don't know, the experience that I had being down there is I just feel like I'm in another universe. It's just fun. It really is fun.
And I heard just a wonderful woman, Karita Jones, was on. I think it might have been your era, because actually Channel 4 is the only station we watch still.
You're smart.
Well, no, I just, how we are. I'm very brand loyal. Karita is a wonderful woman who works for the Bucks, vice president of stuff. I don't know what, but I went to college actually with her dad, who was an All-American at Marquette, Jim Jones from Racine. And she had a really interesting point. She said, as great as the Brewers are and as great as the Packers are, the Bucks are international, because basketball is an international game. And I that really caught my ear when she said it. And I think it's just remarkable what they've done. And when you look at, like what Giannis brings, I mean, people from his country, from Greece, come and he meets them before games and after games and all that stuff. And the Bucks have done such a good job of building their community relations. They always did a nice job before, but I think they've taken it up even a notch now.
Yeah, they're just going. The games is just fun. It
should be fun. I mean, it's Johnny Watson runs their game ops, and Johnny's just a wonderful guy. Well, 4 years ago, Johnny ran USA basketball for the Olympics. Not just. I shouldn't say USA basketball. I should say basketball. All of the basketball stuff, Johnny was in charge of it, and just some really good people. I think what the ownership has done. And they were very smart in bringing Peter Fagan in, who's become such an incredible cheerleader.
He's awesome.
Not just for the Bucks, but for the city in general.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. And it's just exciting. And right now, there's only 4 teams still playing. And how wonderful is it that the Bucks are one? The other thing that's cool, I don't know if you heard this, but they say that Kevin Durant wears a shoe size bigger than his foot. If he didn't have that bigger shoe on, he might not have gone over that 3-point line, and it might have been a 3-point basket. Oh. We might not be in this position. Isn't that something?
That is so funny, because I know they were talking about that line and the size of his feet.
Yeah, I heard that. I just thought, wow, that's just remarkable.
Well, it's meant to be, and I just think I'm optimistic, and I won't be at the game inside, but I can just see Dr. Margolis, who
he'll be going like this. His hair,
and he's done so much for kids with cancer.
Oh, he's just Dr. Margolis. He defines what we're talking about.
Yeah.
How would you like to? And he's the last line of defense, basically. When he sees the kids, it's because the other therapies haven't necessarily worked, and so they do bone marrow transplants. He's literally, without exaggeration, and I have been known to exaggerate a bit, but not when it comes to him. He's as good as it gets in the country. But like today, I guarantee you, he will get spray cans of green paint or blue paint or whatever.
I always look for him at games.
And he'll let these kids spray his hair, and it's incredible. There's a cute story. He was at one of the games. I think they were still in the Bradley Center, and he was sitting around Pat Riley, who was the president of the Miami Heat, and he was being Dr. Margolis, going up like this and everything else. And finally, Riley just got a little bit annoyed. And a dear friend of ours, who Pat Malarkey, was sitting in that same area, and he looked around and he said, "You might want to know what he does for a living." He's one of the top oncologists in the country, pediatric oncologists. And Riley all of a sudden was basically like, he can do whatever he wants. But Margolis brings so much joy in so many lives because of, even when the outcomes aren't that great, they always gave it everything they had. But when he goes to the games, he just lets go. And
but that's his release, and he deserves it, because when you talk to the families, when we've talked to the families, they say, his presence and just the way he handled them was almost divine inspired. I mean, that's what they say, and that's the kind of person they need at that time. So
he is a wonderful, and you talk about a wonderful wife, Jody. Actually, she's just retiring. She ran special needs and things like that at the Jewish Community Center, and she'll be retiring, I think, at the end of this month.
Well, we have just some wonderful people here.
Yeah, we do. Well,
and you're one of them, John. I really
appreciate. I'm looking at one of them right now. You're not going to talk over me when I say nice things about you.
I take criticism easier than I do compliments. I've always been like that. But John, it's what a pleasure. Love seeing you. Love being able to catch up. Tell Mary I said hi. Your kids, you're doing great. But we know that you're still helping make Milwaukee as great as it is, and you're making it better. And not only that, you're giving us a chance to feel proud of being in our city. And that's the project you're working on makes me beam and makes me happy. So I just feel
very
honored to talk to you.
You're giving me far, far, far too much credit.
No. You know it's true.
The beauty of all of this is that everybody can do something. And I always felt, when I was with the MAC Fund, that I always thought it was like the most significant thing. Yet I always understood that everybody always had different perspectives. And the key, I think, is to do something positive. John Wooden was a great coach, basketball coach. And he said, you haven't really had a true full day until you've done something for someone who never knows you did it. And think of that. The gift that you give, which people don't even know that you're giving, the prayers that are offered and things of that nature. And you know what we can do? And now that we have our masks off, in most cases, we can smile again.
Yes.
We can smile at people.
People can know that you are
smiling, but nobody knew you were smiling.
But give a gift when no one is watching, and if they don't know, that's a true gift, and I love that. John, we have to run because we're I think I'm probably over my time, but I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy to be.
Hi to Mark.
Yes,
and there, and thanks to TMJ4 for all you do in the community. I thought showing the Juneteenth parade was really awesome.
Bless you. Thank you. And we were very proud to be able to share that with the public. And we've gotten great response. Yeah. So, well, John, again, always a pleasure. And we'll have to catch up now sometime in person now that the pandemic is over. So tell Mary I said hi, and we will stay in touch. Okay, John and Cary, everybody. Thank you so much. Love you.